I'll start with a brief outline of the Education Act 1998. So the Act establishes a proper legal framework for Educate Together in Ireland, or for education in Ireland. I've Educate Together on the brain. It gives a legal standing to boards of management, so that's when boards of management came into operation and they really take over all the day-to-day running of our school. And it sets out the duties and obligations of the various members of the school community. So that's your trustees, patrons, boards of management, staff, etc. It also recognises the value of partnership in education. The patron of the school is defined in Part 2, Section 8 of the Act, of the Education Act. And it defines a patron as a person who is recognised by the minister as a patron of a primary school or the trustee of a post-primary school, and that the patron of a school carries out its role and function and exercises its powers as set out by the Act and other powers set out by the acts of the Oireachtas, so any new acts that come into place that we're responsible for carrying them out. And it also states that the department keeps a register of all recognised patrons. The role of the patron includes accommodation, so for Educate Together we are responsible for the leases of all of the schools. It upholds the ethos and appoints the Board of Management. By appointing the Board of Management, the patron, we appoint two patron nominees to a Board of Management, and we're not appointing two people from the national office. They're actually people within your community who would not be staff, parents, you know, so there'll be somebody there to run the Board of Management. Within that we also appoint the chairperson, which is usually one of the two patron nominees. Occasionally it's not, but it more than likely is. And then we also seek assurances that all the board members have been appointed correctly. So we just make sure that all the procedures, the parent elections have been carried out, etc. Everything has been done correctly. And then for the appointment of staff, the school patron appoints, I'm on the wrong slide, sorry. The school patron appoints independent assessors to selection boards for interviews for staff, SNAs and teaching staff. And then after the process is finished, it also has to approve that appointment. So we would, when an appointment is made, we'd be sent a form to seek approval for that appointment. The patron also approves the publication of the school's enrolment policy and may set out, you know, the criteria within a school's enrolment policy. Okay, it also acts to preserve the characteristic spirit and the ethos of the school. It can seek regular reports and be able to act to support, advise and if necessary intervene in the interests of the school, its children, parents and staff. And amongst other things, in Educate Together's case, it sets out, monitors and supports a curriculum of ethical education that comprises of 2.5 hours per week in every national school. Okay, so the patron, we're a limited company. So as a limited company, we've legal obligations under the Companies Act. It requires us to file annual returns and have audited accounts and publish them. It also requires us to maintain an up-to-date register of our directors, and this is by submitting B1s, B10s, etc. to the company's registration office. And as we're a charity as well, we have the charity regulators burden to look after as well. It also maintains a list of our members. And we hold an annual general meeting, as you hold an annual general meeting, and for me it's one of my roles to programme manage the annual general meeting, and I can tell you that I work on it from January to beyond the annual general meeting in May. It's a big role. It takes 2 people in the office. It's not full-time, but it is very laborious and you have to be very careful with it. It's a big role to take on. As a company, Educate Together carries out its duties in a clear and transparent manner. Our patronage manual sets out the procedures and how we carry out our role. So I've brought along a copy of our patronage manual. this patronage manual starts on how we apply for patronage of a new school, how we open a new school, to all of the procedures that we have, the obligations that we have as a patron. So this is the procedure for appointing members of staff, for appointing selection panels to interview panels, to approving the appointments, and then improving enrolment policies, and also gathering reports. So the patron has the responsibility to gather reports, so that the schools have carried out child protection checklists, anti-bullying checklists, etc., and that all comes back through here. So our patronage manual is undergoing a review at the moment, so this is the 2015 one, where we'll be adding a lot of new reports to it, and we also have a reporting schedule that goes out to the boards of management of schools that we're patron of every year, and a lot of the reporting we do is done electronically through a jot form, so they just submit in the stuff. So it's a kind of a bulky document, but everything's laid out there, and the transfer of patronage procedure is also laid out in here if anybody wants some bedtime reading. As we are also a school management body, this is where we already interact an awful lot with independent patrons. So Bray School Project is a member school, and we already have the day-to-day support of the school supports from our office. So we have a school supports officer that would engage with schools. The Board of Management also avails of Board of Management training that's provided. We administer the Educate Together redeployment panel for the staffing schedule, and Bray School project are part of that. We also carry out Garda vetting on behalf of all national schools, all Educate Together national schools. And as a company, as a member, you already have the opportunity to shape the policies of Educate Together by submitting motions to the AGM, and then going along to the AGM and participating and voting on those motions and having feeding into them. So I'm just going to sum up with a few slides on the brief history of Educate Together and now what it looks like today. So Educate Together is celebrating its 40th birthday this year. Dalkey School Project opened in 1978. In 1984, Dalkey, Bray and North Dublin got together to form Educate Together. And then in 1997, Monkstown opened under the patronage of Dalkey School Project. In 1998, Educate Together became a company limited by guarantee, and in 2000 Dublin 7 was the first school to open up with Educate Together as its patron. Since then, between 2007 and 2016, 6 established schools have opted to transfer their patronage to Educate Together. So it was Limerick School Project, Rathfarnham, Galway, Ennis, Castleknock, and then 2016 North Kildare's patronage was transferred over. So we're made up of 93 Educate Together schools, and 5 more schools are going to open this September, 4 second level and 1 primary. So those schools, there's 70 national schools, and 11 of the 70 national schools have their own patron. So there's 10 patrons because Dalkey and Monkstown are together. There's 9 second level schools, and of those 9 second level schools, 2 of them have a joint patronage with ETB, and 2 of them are partnership schools, so they're not actually members of Educate Together, we're just partners in the school. And then we also have 2 primary schools in the UK, and I think 2 more opening this September. This means we've 90, that doesn't add up to 99, but this means we do have 99 members, and the 99 members are made up of the patron and the boards of management of the 11 and then the 77 primary schools. Oh, there's 77 other schools that have Educate Together directly as their patron. So to finish up, this is just an outline of the structure within Educate Together. So it's a company limited by guarantee. We're funded by DES grants and our members, and fundraising, a lot of fundraising. The board of directors are elected annually by rotation at the AGM. And as I just said, we've the 99 members. All policies, am I on there? Yeah. All policies are set out as per our constitution at our AGM. And then the people who carry out this work in the National Office, we have 14, they carry out this work and an awful lot more, like opening new schools, etc. We've 14 full-time staff members, 7 part-time staff members, and then the 12 directors would also very much engage in doing work on our behalf as well. And that's it. That's Educate Together summed up.